Hey everybody, Great Basin Prospecting here, your one-stop shop for non-stop rocks. Thanks so much for tuning in for the top 7 rock cuts of the week. Here's a quick look at the rocks that we will be checking out. We've got 6 awesome rocks from Northern Nevada and 1 guest rock from Lake Michigan. Welcome back to all the current subscribers. Please let me know your favorites down in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe to see more videos like this one. Also, I'm starting to sell some of the rocks from the videos, so check out my Etsy link if you're interested there. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first up, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we can see it's got a light coloration going on, which is kind of different for the area. We have some interesting bands that we can see, as well as some cool crystallization. And on this side, we can see a lot more banding, and that to me looked like it was probably going to be a petrified wood or an agatized wood, just based off that little piece there and just the way that this kind of looks. So let's check out the interior, and that is gorgeous. Wow. So this is indeed an agatized wood, and it has preserved the wood grain really, really well. And then there's a few spots where there's some cracks and a little bit of iron staining, it looks like, has gotten in there. Let's take a closer look at the individual halves here, and this is just beautiful. Look at the wood grain on that, just gorgeous. And when I put a flashlight up to it, it is indeed transparent. So if we cut a thin enough slice of this, we'd see some light through it, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the other half. Gosh, I just love the way that this turned out and the way that it looks. Those parts with the cracks might not polish too well, but most of it here will. And just a really gorgeous piece and a pretty big rock as well. So a really cool one. I love finding any kinds of petrified woods, so this is definitely on my list of new favorites. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we can see that we have light coloration again, and it looks like it's going to be a crystal or agate material. The top portion of the rock definitely has some of that orange iron staining on it. And there we can see a little window with almost some blue or maybe a clear crystal pool there, but this one looked really interesting and unique from the outside. So I was excited to take a look at the inside. And that is amazing. Wow. So this is an agate material, and as we can see, we've got some beautiful banding going on and some really cool pockets that have formed as well that have some patterns and inclusions going on in them as well. Let's take a closer look at the individual halves here, and these are just beautiful. I love the big white banded pocket up top, and then on the bottom we do have some of that nice blue that's come in kind of 2 little pools there, and there's some white inclusions that it looks like are present as well. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this one. Really, really pretty. Love the banding, love the colors. This is a cool one. Okay, let's check out this rock. So you may have seen some of these on the channel before. If you haven't, get ready, because these are awesome. This is a lightning stone from Lake Michigan, also known as a Septarian Nodule. And they have kind of a brownish, rusty color on the outside like this. And then we can see those nice lines of calcite crystal. And we hope that those are present throughout the interior when we do the cut. So let's take a look at the inside. And that is really cool. So we have a nice round central nodule at the bottom in the middle, and then we have beautiful veins of crystals that are branching out from that in kind of a nice round pattern. And let's take a closer look at the individual halves. These polished up actually while I was cutting it, and so it's a little bit hydrophobic, which is why you can see it drying out so quickly. But I love the color variation on this as well, from the kind of light tan at the center nodule to the darker colors. Here you can see, again, I'm spraying it now, but the water just kind of comes off it. It's already a little bit polished, but really, really pretty. Okay, next up, let's check out this rock. So this one is kind of an interesting one because from the outside, I really wasn't sure what was going to be happening on the inside. So we have a lot of caliche, which is that white colored material, and then some interesting reds and yellows and greens that are kind of showing through. And I wasn't totally sure how that would translate to the inside, and also if this material might just be too porous from how it looked on the outside. But the inside is really neat. Wow, look at that. we have beautiful swirls of green and oranges and reds, and then a nice kind of agate crystal portion as well. And then there is a big cavity there. It wasn't originally hollow, but I dug it out because I was curious. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at the individual halves here. And I love those greens in this, mixed with the reds. Really cool. Here's a little bit of a closer look. And not a huge rock, so not a ton of real estate to cover here, but really pretty. Let's check out this half. So there's the cave. It was filled with kind of a light green colored powder, almost the same color as like the lightest green that we see on this rock. But really cool. There weren't any formations in there. And here's a little bit of a closer look at this one. Really nice. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we see some classic looking Nevada Wonderstone patterns and colors. We've got oranges, reds, we've got pinks. And because of that, and just because of how the pattern looked on this, I thought it was probably going to be pretty nice on the inside. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, and that's a stunner. Wow. So this is a combination of Wonderstone, as well as we get a little bit of Lahontan Jasper pattern going on at the top there with the white and the red, where it's really dark and is coming in the veins there. Really cool. Nice banding around the perimeter of this one. Let's take a closer look at the individual halves, and just really vivid colors. This Nevada Wonderstone usually polishes up really well. So this one could be cut into slabs or it could be face polished for display. It's a nice little piece. Really pretty. Here's a look at the other half. And yeah, that banding around the perimeter is just really nice. I kind of like the streaky chaoticness of it. Some of them are super clean. Some of them are even messier than this one, but this is kind of a nice medium. All right, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, what intrigued me about this rock, and there it goes, is the veins of crystal that I could see, because they almost looked blue. That combined with the red on the exterior of the rock, and then a lot of it, as you can see, is covered with caliche. I was pretty curious, and look at how that came through. Gorgeous. Wow. So this looks like we have some agate material that has flowed into the veins. When we get a closer look, you can see some of the banding that's going on in those little areas. It's a little bit hard to see. And then we have a nice red banded material as well that's making up the rest of the rock. But really pretty. Here on this half, we can see some of the fortification banding that's going around those little pockets, but each one of them has a nice little bit of banding. Very cool. And last but certainly not least, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, again, we're seeing a clear kind of crystal or agate material that has some iron staining on it. There's an interesting different color there, almost a dark blue, which was also partially why I was interested in this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. Oh, and that is really nice. So this is another Jasp agate material, and it has almost a silhouette pattern in the middle where it's white. When we look at it from a different angle, if you were standing it up vertically, it looks almost like a silhouette. But there we go. Nice banding that's going on around the perimeter of it. We've got a bunch of different colors going on, reds and yellows and pinks, all pretty soft, but looks really nice. Let's take a look at the other half, and that pattern comes through on the other half as well, and the material looks largely the same, but a nice pretty one here. And that's it for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please make sure to let me know your favorites down in the comments. And if you made it this far and haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And make sure to check out my Etsy link if you want to buy any of these rocks or any ones from my other videos. And I will see you all next time.